So the solution to that was to develop an application that we call Serverconsole. Now we can do a number of tasks from within here. So this is developed in Visual Studio using C#, but it calls upon the PowerShell scripts. So if we wanted to set up the IP addresses on our loopback adapters on our host computers, if we were running something like the Graphical Network Simulator GNS3, we could do so from a graphical user interface. So we could load the IP addresses from memory if we want to, and we've got them stored in a text file. And you can see that we've got loopback adapters 1, 4 and 5 enabled in this instance with IP addresses and subnet masks and gateway addresses. And if I wanted to apply that just to one particular PC, I could do so. So I'm going to apply that just to PC22. I could apply it to any number of PCs if I wanted to. So I'll select all of the PCs in this particular case, all of those that are visible to us, and I can change the IP addresses. So, and if I wanted to make changes to the IPs, I could make the changes and I could save them. I'm going to send those IP addresses to those hosts. Okay, the other thing that we might want to do is to also potentially do a remote rebuild of the PCs. By this we mean taking the cloned virtual machine that we were talking about earlier and copying it into each of the students' directories. So they will have a linked clone, a copy of the linked clone in their directory, a fresh copy of that. And we can do that just by selecting this remote rebuild option here. And so we can just go ahead and do that, and that will copy that to using an agent on the remote PCs. And also we can randomize the MAC addresses if we want to as well of those virtual machines. And we can also shut down the PCs if we want to, or we can restart them. Now we might need to restart them if we're going to re-image the PCs using Semantic Ghost, for example. We might want to do that remotely. And we might want to schedule some of those tasks so that, for example, the PCs might shut down at a particular time of day to save power. Now when we come to look at imaging, if we want to deploy an image to computers in the laboratory, we can do it from here. So we can say, for example, if I want to deploy a new image to the C drive on the selected computers in the laboratory, I can select to run that command, and it automatically starts Semantic Ghostcast server, the PXE server and the TFTP server. So that's running automatically. Now I simply need to restart the PCs that I want to send the build to. So I'm going to have a go at number 25, so I'm going to rebuild that one, or re-image it. So I'm going to reboot it, and I've now rebooted it from the server, and we should eventually see it appear in our Ghostcast window. So it'll just take a couple of minutes to reboot. Okay, so it's ready to receive the image, and if I just want to start re-imaging, all I have to do is just send that image to the client. The other things that I might want to do is I may want to give my users a temporary administrator access. So I can do that from in here, so I can see which users I've got on the PCs, and I can either change the password from here, or I can create a new user. So if I want to create a new user and give them a password, I can do that from here, and that user appears on that PC, and obviously I can send that to any of these PCs in the laboratory that are currently connected. And the other things I might want to do are to do things like I might want to transfer a folder. I can create a shared folder. So I've got a share here called test share, and if I want to send the contents of that folder to a remote PC, I just need to specify the folder where I want it to go, and I can transfer that folder, the contents of this shared folder, to that remote PC. Now I can also, using a similar principle, I can also install software as well. So what I'm looking for is a Microsoft installer file, an MSI file, and I can select that file and I can send it to selected PCs in the room, and that will install software from a Windows installer file. And there are various other things that I can do, but one thing that is also available is that if there is a function not available in the server console that hasn't been implemented as yet, we can actually create a script, a PowerShell script, and we can edit it, and we can run it from within this scripts tab. Now, for example, here this disables the USB storage on the PCs in the laboratory, and we could also re-enable them with another script. And we can select which PCs to send that script to. So if there's a feature that hasn't been implemented yet, we can practice it here, and then once it's been tested, we can then possibly incorporate it into the server console program itself. So it means that we can use this software to manage our computer networking laboratory, most of the tasks that we want to do from the server, remotely from the server, and we can automate some of those tasks, such as re-cloning and re-imaging.